श्रीयुताः पदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमा ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Very happy to get this opportunity to serve the wonderful devotees in New Zealand. Probably this is the first opportunity in terms of the Zoom classes, and I feel myself unqualified. At the same time, I have got great greed that by serving devotees one makes spiritual advancement. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Shuddha Bhagata Charana Renu Bhajana Anu. Kadamba Kanan Prabhu, am I audible? It's okay, sound level?
Yes, Prabhu, this little bit of interference that just...
Okay, I'll just try to bring it closer. The video is okay?
Yes, Prabhu, video is perfect. Yes.
So, I was quoting one song of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Shuddha Bhagata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. That the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotees is very favorable for devotional service. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself emphasizes two things more than anything else for making rapid spiritual advancement. Once a group of devotees approached Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri and inquired, how can we make rapid spiritual advancement? So Lord Chaitanya told two things. One, he says, you chant the holy name of Krishna. And second, of course, serve the devotees. So different ways to serve devotees. Some serve by cooking nice prasad, some serve by leading kirtan, some serve by managing the temple, some serve by distributing books. So I have been given this blessed opportunity by my friend Kadamba Kananto to serve all of you by speaking something about the Cida Dahi festival. This is a very, very significant festival because it shows the way to approach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We all need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya because in Kali Yuga, Krishna has descended himself in the form of Lord Gauranga. So, the way to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is explained in this pastime. We see Raghunath Das Goswami was repeatedly trying to run away from home and join Mahaprabhu's movement in what we would call full time in our ISKCON language. But again and again, he was unsuccessful. So the point we learn from this story, before I go into the story, is the need for the mercy of Guru Tattva or Lord Nityananda. So again and again he's approaching and he's unsuccessful. But finally, when he's blessed with the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he is able to get success. So Raghunath Das Goswami, as you all know, is one of our acharyas. 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Yugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. All glories to Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So he is one among the 6 Goswamis, and in one sense, he is quite junior to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. But at the same time, the arrangement of the Lord is he is teaching us the highest tattva. As you all know, there are 3 tattvas in the path of devotional service. One is the sambandha. Sambandha means understanding one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. Second is abhideya. Abhideya means practical activities done to awaken that relationship. And third is prayojan, which is the ultimate goal of life, pure love for Krishna. So these 3 levels are there. Sambandha level, the Acharya is Sanatana Goswami. And the deities are Radha, Madan Mohan. The next level is Abhideya Tattva, which is practical means of rendering service, hearing and chanting. And here the Acharya is Rupa Goswami. And the deity is Radha Govinda. Third is Prayojan. Prayojan, the deities are Radha Gopinath. And the Acharya is Raghunath Das Goswami. It's quite interesting because Raghunath Das Goswami is the junior most among the 3. And he has been given the highest subject matter. There's no envy among Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami is not complaining, oh, you joined after me. How come you are getting a higher position? The society of Vaishnavas is Nirmatsar. Prabhupada writes in one of the first canto purports that our desire is that ISKCON should be a society which is free from the freedom from the disease of envy, free from that tendency for competition. Competition is there, but competition is to glorify each other. So here we see Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath Das, Raghunath Bhatta, the 6 Goswamis, they would come together in Radha Damodar temple. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyuga. Glorify the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Raghunath Das Goswami in the spiritual world is Rati Manjari, or some say Rag Manjari. Manjari means devotees who are in gopi form, but very young, less than 8 years old. So they can enter into Radha Krishna's pastimes. And Raghunath Das Goswami is one such Manjari, like Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. So Raghunath Das Goswami was born in a place which is now very near Calcutta, about 50 to 60 kilometers, a place called Adi Saptagram. And he was born in a very aristocratic family. His father's name was Govardhan Majumdar, and his uncle was Hiranya Majumdar. So he somehow or other, although born in such an aristocratic family, generally it is very difficult for a person born in a rich family to take to the path of devotional service. As you have all heard in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhavaishwarya Prasattanam Daya Parata Chetasa. That one who is attached to material enjoyment, it's very difficult for him to be steady on the path of devotional service. But Raghunath Das Goswami is an exception. Although born in what we would say in today's language, multi-millionaire, you could probably compare it like in India, we have Mukesh Ambani, or in every country, one of the richest person. He had several acres of land under their name. And he was the only heir. He had no brother. He had nobody else to take over the property. But he was very much anxious to join ISKCON, whatever means Lord Chaitanya's mission. Prabhupada says ISKCON is the present name for Lord Chaitanya's society. He just wanted to give up everything and just surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So first meeting of Raghunath Das Goswami with Mahaprabhu took place in Shantipur. As you all know the pastime, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in Mayapur Dham and performed his scholarly pastime. He was grahastha for some time till the age of 24. A beautiful wife, obedient wife. But at the age of 24, Lord Chaitanya decided to take sannyas. Not because of some family quarrel or disagreement, as is common in today's society, but he left just to show mercy to all of us. This is the only avatar among all the innumerable incarnations where the Lord takes sannyas. One of Prabhupada's god brother, Srila Bhakti Puri Maharaj, explaining, it's the only avatar where Lord takes a broom and is willing to sweep the streets in Jagannath Puri. This avatar is very, very special. Saba avatar and Sarashivam. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation is very, very special. So Raghunath Das Goswami, from the very beginning, he was attached to meeting Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at age of 24 on the day of Makar Sankranti, and he was his guru, Srila Keshav Bharati, was thinking, what name should I give to Lord Chaitanya? He knew Lord Chaitanya is Supreme Lord. How can he become guru of the Supreme Guru? But then Lord Chaitanya went up to him and uttered in his ear, said, I have heard, this is the mantra. He repeated the mantra and said, is this the correct sannyas mantra? Then Keshav Bharati said, this is the perfect mantra. Now I will give this mantra to you. Lord Chaitanya actually initiated Keshav Bharati. Then after giving the mantra, I was thinking, what name shall I give? Generally, a sannyasi is given a name which is resembling the name of his spiritual master. If the spiritual master has got Bharati, then the disciple will have the name Bharati. The spiritual master has got Puri, the disciple also have the title Puri. It's like something like a surname. Thinking, how can I call him my disciple? It is not appropriate. He is the guru of the whole world. What name shall I give? And after thinking very deeply, he thought that Lord Chaitanya has come to give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Krishna Chaitana, the Sanskrit word is Chaitana. He is giving Krishna Chaitana to everyone. He will make people conscious of Krishna. So I shall give him the name Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So after receiving sannyas, then Lord Chaitanya Prabhu left for Vrindavan. And Nityananda Prabhu knew the heart of the Lord. So he misdirected Lord Chaitanya. He told little children, when this Swamiji asks you, which is the way to Vrindavan? The way to Vrindavan was straight. Show him a way which is perpendicular. Instead of going towards Vrindavan, send him to Shantipur. Lord Chaitanya was in so much ecstasy, crying in love for Krishna, Krishna, Govardhan, Vrindavan. And he asked the little children, Vrindavan kota ache, which is the way to Vrindavan? The children very lovingly misdirected him in a different direction. Lord Chaitanya turned in that direction. Then he saw Nityananda Prabhu also turning. So he became suspicious. He asked Nityananda Prabhu, where are you going? Nityananda Prabhu replied, Ami Toma Sange Jaibe Vrindavan. I am also going with you to Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya said, Kata dur ache Vrindavan. How far is Vrindavan? He says, oh, just see this river Yamuna. He pointed to the mother Ganga and said, this is Yamuna. Lord Chaitanya actually did not realize. He started glorifying Yamuna. Kalindi, Nandini. And he offered respects. And then he saw on bank of Yamuna, there is a great Advaita Acharya who would normally be staying in Shantipur, which is on the bank of Ganga. Just like if you come to some place in New Zealand and you find that most of the devotees they are from Australia. So you get confused whether I've landed in New Zealand or whether I landed in Australia. You find all devotees. So Lord Chaitanya became suspicious. He asked Advaita, how did you know that I'm in Vrindavan? What are you doing in Vrindavan? Advaita Acharya said, welcome to Shantipur. And he very lovingly guided to his home where his wife cooked nice prasad and served Lord Chaitanya. And this was the first meeting. At that time, Raghunath Das Goswami came to meet Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya told Raghunath, see, I know you want to be part of my mission, but do not behave like a madman. You do your responsibilities properly and do not act like a monkey renunciate. So Lord Chaitanya was encouraging devotees to act in proper according to Varna and Ashram, not prematurely give up everything. So Raghunath Das Goswami went back home. Then for several years he waited. And meanwhile he was married to a very beautiful woman and he had the opulence just like the king of heaven, Indra. His father had 12 servants kept at his service, but very strange service. 1 or 2 were helping him with cooking and serving. Another 10 were just to make sure he does not run away. As soon as he would run away from home, his servants would catch him. This happened several times. And then he got an idea, started thinking, that I'm trying so many times, I'm unsuccessful. I think I should first please and serve and thereby get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Because by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, I can approach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he decided to go and meet Lord Nityananda, who was in the area of Calcutta, the beautiful place called Pani, Hati. I'm sure some of you must have been there. It's quite near the Calcutta airport, maybe 15-20 kilometers from there. There is still the tree, the banyan tree under which Lord Nityananda was sitting, where Raghunath Das Goswami went to meet Lord Chaitanya. He offered his prostrated obeisances from a distance. And Lord Chaitanya smiled and looked at him and said, "Thief, you are a thief. You are offering respect from a distance. Come here, I will give you punishment." Raghunath Das Goswami was hesitating out of humility, but Lord Chaitanya lovingly pulled him near him and put his lotus feet on the head of Lord. Lord Nityananda put his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami was blessed with a causeless mercy. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled and said, "Raghunath, I am going to punish you." And what is the punishment? To serve Cida, Dahi to all my devotees. Amazing, because Lord Nityananda's nature is very humorous and unpredictable. Very difficult to understand the mind of the Supreme Lord and his pure associates. Lord Nityananda Prabhu sometimes becomes angry and sometimes he's soft like a rose. Mostly he's never angry. But sometimes he becomes angry with a devotee out of love. Just like there's a story of Shivananda Sen. Shivananda Sen is an associate of Lord Nityananda. And he was like the Yatra leader. He was guiding devotees from Mayapur Dham to Jagannath Puri, arranging accommodation and prasad. He was so kind that he even served a dog who joined the party. There's a small dog. When the devotees were traveling from Shri Dham, Mayapur to Jagannath Puri, every year 200 devotees would travel. And Shivananda Sen was the leader of the group. And one dog also joined. Probably he did not register, to my knowledge. And this dog was treated by Shivananda Sen as a wonderful devotee. Lord Nityananda, Shivananda would personally cook for the dog and take care of the dog. And one day when the dog disappeared, Shivananda Sen was feeling very morose. Such is the exalted nature of Shivananda Sen's devotion that ultimately this dog went back to God. But yet Lord Nityananda Prabhu, when he met Shivananda, there was some delay in arranging accommodation. Lord Nityananda was so angry. He said, "Where is Shivananda? I'm feeling very angry because my accommodation is not arranged. I may die out of hunger." And Shivananda Sen came running forward and Lord Nityananda kicked him on the chest just to test him and glorify to the world how Shivananda Sen, even when he was kicked, he did not lose his faith. He said, "Oh, I am so fortunate. Brahmara Durlabha Jai Padapad." Same lotus feet are very rare for demigods like Lord Brahma. And those same lotus feet have been blessed with the touch of their lotus feet. So in this way, actually Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda was just testing Shivananda Sen, showing to the world his greatness. And here Lord Nityananda is giving mercy to Raghunath Das Goswami by giving him an opportunity to serve Vaishnavas. The greatest blessing one can desire is an opportunity to serve devotees, serve Gurudev, serve Vaishnavas, and especially to chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Generally, one thinks good fortune means having a lot of wealth, good job, good family life, healthy situation. These are no doubt very helpful in devotional service. But the most desirable thing in spiritual life is that the opportunity to serve the Lord and His devotees in the mood of this servant of this servant. Just like Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Lord Narsingadev, what blessings do you want? Here is Lord personally appeared just to protect Prahlad. Prahlad could have asked anything under the sun, could have asked going back to Vaikuntha. Prahlad Maharaj simply asked, I just want to serve your pure devotee Narada. I was fallen in a blind well full of snakes. My Gurudev Narada Muni pulled me out of this dreadful situation. I want to serve Narada Muni because he is a pure devotee. So he did not desire direct service to Lord Narsingadev. He desired to serve his pure devotee, Narada Muni. Srila Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport in that connection, that one should not desire to serve the Lord directly, but better to serve his devotees. Naham vipra nacha narapati napi vaishnashu. Very beautiful verse which Lord Chaitanya would sing in the Rath Yatra. He said, I am not a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. I am simply Gopir Bhartur Padakamalayur Das Dasa. I am the servant of the Lord of the Gopis, Gopinath, Krishna. I am just aspiring to be servant of this. This consciousness is a culmination of all spiritual practices. We can know how advanced we are in Krishna Bhakti, by how close we are to that highest level of understanding. And I'm simply a servant of Krishna. And ultimately, because every living being is a servant of Krishna, so I'm a servant of every living being. Not only devotees, but ultimately all living beings. A devotee sees Krishna in the heart of every living being. And hence he is very eager to offer respects without discrimination to one and all. This quality of amanena manadena brings about kirtaniya sadai. Oftentimes we wonder, Prabhupada asked us to chant the holy name always. Lord Chaitanya is instructing kirtaniya sadai. How can we come to that platform? So the first step is Trinad Pisunichena, Karor Pisaish. We are aspiring, even if we may not be on that level, at least we are aspiring to become humble than a blade of grass. The blade of grass, sometimes abused, sometimes spitted upon, never protest. A tree is very tolerant. Sometimes some person may come to cut the tree, and as he's cutting with his axe, big trees, it takes several days to cut. The tree is tolerated. When the person who is cutting becomes tired, the tree gives its shade. The person who is killing, the tree gives its delicious, juicy fruits. The person who is about to murder him. How many of us can you dream to come to that level of consciousness? We have the example of Haridas Thakur in our parampara. A wonderful example of tolerance. This quality of tolerance and humility, the essence of all spiritual practices. It does not matter what one's position is in Varnashram, whether one is brahmachari, grihastha, sannyasi, man body, woman body, or young or old, brahmana or kshatriya, work from home or work from New Zealand, work from America, or no work. Sometimes, during COVID season, many people lost their jobs. Many relocated, financial crisis. It doesn't matter. These are all external details. Based on our karma, we enjoy ourselves. What matters is how is our consciousness. Consciousness should be, I'm servant of the servant. Because in Australia, one crazy person challenged the Prabhupada. Prabhupada was speaking about different classes of men. There is first class men, second class men, third class men. And this crazy person He just got up and said, Swamiji, which class are you? He was speaking in such a challenging tone. Devotees were about to just pick him up and throw it to the floor. Devotees were so angry. But Prabhupada exhibited such perfect tolerance and humility. He just became very silent for some time. He bowed down his head. In the mood of utter humility, he replied, I am fifth class. Because we know Prabhupada is better than the best, supreme best, pure, supreme devotee. But he, out of humility, with tears in his eyes, he said, I am fifth class. But I am serving all. This is Prabhupada's consciousness, which is the goal of our sadhana. He's thinking himself to be the servant of all the devotees, of all living beings. Trinada Pisuniche, Karora Pisnish, Amani Manade. This verse in the language of Chaitanya Charitamrita is the crest jewel of all verses. The great author Srila Krishnananda Kaviraj Goswami advises us to put this verse around the neck like a kanthi mala. And on this thread of this verse, we put the money of these 4 lines, and then we can chant Kirtaniya Sada. Haridas Thakur was, as you all know the story, he was persecuted, beaten up in 22 marketplaces. What was his sin? What was his mistake? His only mistake, he was chanting Hare Krishna out of compassion for all living beings. And even though he was beaten up, he was praying for those who were beating him up. Lord Chaitanya, he sent his Sudarshan Chakra just to kill the offenders. But Haridas Thakur, by his prayers, he stopped the Chakra. The Chakra could not kill the offenders because the devotee's mercy is more powerful than the wrath of God. So Haridas Thakur exemplified this quality. The tree, another good quality of the tree is, the tree offers its fruits and flowers to one and all without discrimination. The devotee should learn to offer whatever qualities, whatever wealth, whatever abilities one has in the service of Guru and Vaishnavas and ultimately Lord Krishna. Because everything already belongs to the Lord. By offering to the Lord, we become purified. So, this quality of Trinada Pisuniche, Karor Pisai is very important. The third quality of the tree, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, is the tree does not ask for water. Even when the tree is dried up, if somebody gives water, okay. If it doesn't give, it's peaceful. So one can judge, Prabhupada explains in Bhagavatam, one can know the greatness of a person by his ability to tolerate provoking situations. So coming back to the story of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was so happy to serve the devotees. He had all the wealth at his command. He purchased a lot of Cida, which is like something like Cida, very puffed rice. And then he got mangoes and banana and many other items, prepared Cida, Dahi and Cida. I'm sure in New Zealand, in our local temple also, we will be celebrating either today or you may have already done, I do not know. Calendar. Already over?
Yes, Prabhu, we celebrated yesterday because it was a weekend, it was Sunday, so devotees will be
Just
free.
like here in India also, we did yesterday. So, it's a very wonderful preparation. So, Raghunath Das Goswami served everyone. By his divine potency, Lord Nityananda invited Lord Chaitanya, who was staying now in Jagannath Puri, about 500 kilometers away. Nobody could see, but everybody could see Lord Nityananda was holding a pot in his hand, a good earthen pot. He was taking Chiradai out of the pot and offering it to Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was taking out of the pot and offering to Lord Nityananda. And all people could see was that they could not see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only few who had divine vision they could see. And Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda were serving each other. And then Lord Nityananda ordered all the devotees, now you can take prasad But as you take prasad, you chant Hari, 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 Hari. Just chant Hari, no more worry. The name of Hari is the supreme panacea. The name of Hari is the supreme solution to all the problems of the world. Whether it be at the local family level or ashram level, whether it be in the fight between Moscow and Kiev, whether it be so many, everywhere there is fight in Kali Yuga. Practically in Kali Yuga, every molecule is fighting with another molecule. You cannot avoid because it is the nature of Kali. That just like there is summer season, you cannot say that it should not be hot. Summer means it will be hot. Winter means it will be cold. So Kali Yuga means fight, dissension, quarrel, disagreement, even in society of devotees. But Kalel doshe nidhi rajan astirye kumahan kirtana deva Krishna se mukta sangha. This Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. But one good quality is that simply by chanting the holy name, one can attain the supreme perfection. Even demigods, they aspire to take birth in Kali Yuga on the earth planet. It looks very strange. On one hand, we are condemning Kali Yuga, it's the worst of all ages. And the best of the people, the demigods, want to take birth here. Why? Because there's an offer. It's like we buy things when there is an offer, like big billion sales. Because many of the offers are illusory, but the price is increased and then decreased. But here, this is the big billion sale, Lord Chaitanya's sale. It is valid for another 9,500 years with 100% discount. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they do not ask for any qualification. Patra na dekh. They do not see whether one is qualified or unqualified, whether one is young or old, or very learned or foolish, from the Middle East or the Far East or from America. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda just want one thing from us, just sincerity of heart, just that desire to get that mercy. Once Prabhupada was walking on the beach in Mumbai, bank of the ocean, and one devotee was walking behind him along with several other devotees. He wanted to ask a question, but was hesitant. Then Prabhupada just ended his walk and was about to sit in the car. This devotee offered respects between the door and between the car, just to get Prabhupada's attention. He said, Prabhupada, I have a question. Prabhupada said, yes. What is your question? This devotee replied, what is the most important qualification for getting success in spiritual life? Very important question. What is the most important qualification for getting success in Krishna consciousness? Somebody may say chanting, somebody may say reading, somebody may say serving. Prabhupada gave answer in one word. Any of you know what is that one word?
Sincerity.
Yes?
Sincerity, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Sincerity, yes. Sincerity is certainly correct, but the exact word Prabhupada used was desire. Desire. Just in one word, desire. Just desire. Laulyam. One should have a greed, like Raghunath Das Goswami was so greedy to run to Lord Chaitanya. He was being pulled back by his so-called servants. His father was stopping it. He had everything a rich man would desire. He was greedy for Lord Chaitanya's association. We should become greedy for chanting Hare Krishna. We should be greedy for serving the devotees, for serving Prabhupada, greedy for distributing books, greedy for cooking prasad, and sometimes greedy for eating prasad. That laulyam in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami describes that what is the price for attaining love for Krishna. Tatra laulyam api mulya. The word laulyam can be translated as not greed, but intense greed, intense longing. Just like just the day before yesterday was Nirjala Ekadashi. There also you celebrated Kadamba, fasting from water. It's one of my favorite days because we can chant more and more. It's not compulsory to go to the Prasad hall. And it's free time for the cooks also, and unlimited supply of air and oxygen to feast on. So after Nirjala Ekadashi, the next day is Dwadashi. And there's certain time for breaking the fast. And I just 2-3 years back, I was in Vrindavan. Generally, I calculate which place the fast breaking is the fastest. So I go to that space. I like to go to Vrindavan and Mayapur because there the chanting is much better. But this time in the summer, Vrindavan was more than 45 degrees. So I decided to stay in Pune, where I am now. But one year I was in Vrindavan and the fast breaking time was 5:25. So the announcement was made after Mangalarti that fast breaking 5:25. Now it is 5:05. The prasadam is kept here. Here is the lemon water, and here is the yesterday. So that, and as I was waiting from 5:05 to 5:25, after every bead we were looking at the watch. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I think the watch is going very slow. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And then just at 5:24 past 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and I took a glass of water just to break the fast. And then somebody said, "Oh, this watch is 5 minutes fast." Because very feeling separation. So why I'm explaining this point is that kind of eagerness we have when we are fasting from water, how much eager we are to get a drop of water. That kind of eagerness we should have to meet Krishna, to chant Hare Krishna, and to render any service possible. Krishna consciousness is very simple actually. It's our complicated minds which makes us feel it is complex. Krishna consciousness, simple words means just chant Hare Krishna and render service to Krishna. The form of the service may change from temple to temple, from home to home, from ashram to ashram. But what matters is not the particular seva, but the attitude, the mood. The Lord Chaitanya emphasizes, "I am the servant of the sun. Everyone is superior to me. I am the lowest." One who has this consciousness, his heart will vibrate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So we should be cultivating this mood every day, every moment. Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes a beautiful song. Kabe habe bolo se dinama, aparadhe ghuchi, shuddha name ruchi, kripa bala habe, hridaya sanchar. The translation. Kabe habe bolo. Oh my Lord, when that day will come, aparadha ghuchi, I will be free from offense. Shuddha name ruchi, I will get taste for the holy name. When will I learn to offer respect to others? I will learn to tolerate everything as yours. Of course, what I'm speaking, I myself am far away from the perfection, but we should know, should remind each other about this ultimate goal of becoming pure devotee, servant of the Lord. So Raghunath Das Goswami served all the devotees, and then he went to meet Lord Nityananda Prabhu. This is my focus on today's lecture. Is the prayers of Raghunath Das Goswami. Just immediately at the culmination of the Cida Dahi festival, he approached Lord Nityananda and he offered this prayer. In case any of you have got books or on your mobile, you may have Prabhupada's books or on your laptop, then please open it. Antya Leela chapter 6. This is Antya Leela chapter 6 called Lord Chaitanya meets Raghunath. I would like to highlight few verses beginning from 127. So the verse is Raghunatha Asi Kaila Charana 127 verse. And Raghava Pandita Dvara Kaila Lim. After the whole festival was over, Cida Dahi, Raghunath Das went there, he worshipped Lord Nityananda's lotus feet and he submitted through Raghava Pandita. One interesting thing is Raghunath would never approach the Lord directly. He would always go through some servant. You're so humble. Please, dear devotees, try to absorb every word of his prayer. I'm beginning the prayer from 128, the next verse. Adhama pamara mui hina jiva dhama mora ichha hai pae chaitanya charana. You could get it, Kadam Kanan Prabhu? You get that verse? Were you able to locate this verse?
Yes, Prabhu. I'll just share screen in a minute.
Yeah. You could share screen. Great. 128 number verse. Sorry, actually, I should have informed you. Yeah, this is the right verse. Adama pamara mui hina jiva dhama mora ichha hai paye chetana charana. Translation: I am the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen, condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And just few comments on this verse. Now here, Raghunath Das Goswami is revealing the heart of a sadhaka, how a devotee should approach the Lord. You'll find this common in all the writings of the acharyas. Like Narottam Das Thakur says, Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar, Musama Patita Prabhu Na Paivya. That, my dear Lord, you have come to deliver the most fallen, and I am the most fallen. Raghunath Das Goswami is saying the same thing. I am the most fallen. I am sinful. But more ichha hai paye Chaitanya Charan. My desire is to attain shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Can we go to the next verse too? Next verse. Vamana hai jena chanda thori bare chai aneka yatana kainu tate kapu siddha nahi. Like a Vamanam is a dwarf, a person who is having very low height. Like a dwarf trying to catch the moon. I have tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. And he goes on to explain, every time I tried to go away from home, my parents would catch me. Now we come to the next. You can skip one verse and go to 131. Next one. This is a very important verse. तुम्हारा कृपा बिना के हो चैतन्य नहीं पाया तुम्ही कृपा कैला तार अधम ही पाया. Translation: no one can attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, even the lowest of men can attain shelter. This is the crux of the Cida Dahi festival. To understand that no one can attain shelter of Lord Chaitanya without the mercy of Lord Nityananda. But if Lord Nityananda is merciful, then even the lowest of men can attain shelter. Now, for a few minutes, you can stop the spotlighting to speak something. Yeah. This particular verse is very significant. Now, who is Lord Chaitanya? He is Radha and Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. And who is Lord Nityananda? Lord Nityananda is the Adi Guru. He is Balaram. So what this verse is trying to teach us is the importance of taking shelter of a bona fide Guru, like Srila Prabhupada and their many wonderful representatives. So one cannot attain love for Krishna without attaining shelter of a bona fide Guru. When Brahmanda Brahmite ko na bhagyavan achieve, Guru Krishna prasade pai. As the living being is wandering through so many species of life, one who is fortunate, he will meet a bona fide Guru, and the Guru will direct him to Krishna. We find even Lord Chaitanya, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he did not exhibit symptoms of love of God until he met Ishwarapuri. He did not preach, and he met Ishwarapuri. First he met him in Navadvip, and he was initiated in Gaya. When Lord Chaitanya met Ishwarapuri in Gaya, Lord Chaitanya glorified him, saying, just by seeing you, one gets the result of going to all the holy places. And later on, Lord Chaitanya accepted initiation. In the pastimes of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, Rupa and Sanatan approached Lord Chaitanya first time they met Lord Chaitanya was in a place called, anybody knows? Ramkeli. This is now in near Malda, just on the Bangladesh-India border. It's in India. So there, Rupa and Sanatan were offering respects. It was Nityananda Prabhu who brought them closer to Lord Chaitanya. I'm trying to highlight this point, how Nityananda's mercy is crucial in advancement. When Jagai Madhai, they were two drunkards. Practically, they were lowest of men. And in today's world, they would term like the worst of the terrorists. Probably their book would be in the Guinness Book of World Record for their atrocities. They probably punished to death with the laws of any sane government. And they attacked Lord Nityananda just because Lord Nityananda asked them to chant Hare Krishna. And he was beaten by Lord Nityananda was beaten by Jagai and Madhai. He was bleeding. But Lord Nityananda was smiling. Akaroda Parmanandi. He said, doesn't matter that you're beaten me, just chant the name. Lord Chaitanya could not tolerate Chakra, Sudarshan Chakra. He called his chakra to finish off Jagai Madhai forever. But Lord Nityananda fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya. He says, don't kill them, because if you kill them, you have to kill everybody. They are all in the same category. Prabhupada writes in one purport, in Kali Yuga, everyone is Jagai Madhai. One of Jagai Madhais is speaking in front of you today. In Mumbai, Jagai Madhai. And like Prabhupada was very frank. One devotee asked Prabhupada, what is our qualification? We are so fallen and degraded. How is it that we are able to render service in the mood of Sankirtan movement, service to Radha Krishna? Prabhupada became very grave. He said, you have no qualification. I created your qualification. So our qualification is the mercy of Prabhupada, mercy of devotees, representatives of Prabhupada, the present gurus. The more we become humble and submissive towards the will of Krishna, represented by Prabhupada, represented by the present gurus, the more we make spiritual advancement. Spiritual advancement is not based on our efforts. We should put in effort, but spiritual advancement is based on mercy. We should pray every day to our spiritual masters. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Roedase Trinapeka Atina. Oh Gurudev, please give mercy on me and make me more humble than a plate of us. Generally we think, I got Gurudev's mercy. Why? Because he came to my home and he accepted my idli, dosa, sambar. My Guru is happy with me. My Guru is happy because he smiled at me. The Guru is happy because he replied to my mail very quickly. These are external things. What is a sign of a person who received the mercy of the spiritual master? He becomes humble, humbler than a blade of grass. He attains taste for loving, hearing, and chanting. He is willing to do anything and everything. Please Krishna, please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Nityananda, so merciful. It was he who forgave Jagai and Madhai and brought them ultimately the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu, I'm now continuing to the next verse. There is saying, Ayogya mui nivedana karite kori bhai mora Chaitanya deha vasai ayasade. Although I am unfit, greatly afraid to submit this plea, I request you, sir, please be merciful towards me and grant me the shelter of the lotus feet of Chaitanya. Please give me the shelter of Chaitanya. We go to the next verse. More mathe dhara kari karah prasada nirvigna Chaitanya pai kora ashirvada. Placing your feet on my head, give me the benediction that I may attain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without difficulty. I pray for this benediction. So here, this is the benediction we should all ask in today, the day of Cida Dahi, that I may get shelter of Lord Gauranga. Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled. He told all the devotees, just see. Now we can stop the screen sharing for a while. Lord Nityananda smiled. He told all the devotees, just see Raghunath Das. He has the opulence of Indra. He has beautiful wife. He has anything under the sun which one would want to aspire for. But because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he does not like material enjoyment. This is another sign of spiritual advancement. A distaste for material enjoyment, a taste for serving Krishna, and detachment from material enjoyment. Vairagya. When you are entering pure bhakti, or even if you're not pure, but at least you are on the path, it will manifest in vairagya and jnana automatically, without any endeavor. And then he spoke a very beautiful verse. This verse we can highlight, 136. We are skipping one or two verses. And then we come to 136. Krishna, next one. This one, yes. Krishna pada padma gandha jai jana paya brahma loka adi sukha tare nahi bhaya. Translation. One who experiences the fragrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna does not value even the standard of happiness available in Brahma Loka, the topmost planet. What to speak of heavenly happiness? Now we can go back to the. So this particular point is very important. Krishna Pada Padma Gandha. Now the word Pada Padma means lotus feet. So Krishna Pada Padma means lotus feet of Krishna. Gandha means fragrance. One who gets even a slight fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna, Brahma Lok nahi bhai. He does not even like Brahma Lok. What to speak of New Zealand Lok or India Lok or Australia, America Lok. He likes Go Lok. He likes to go back to the spiritual world. One aspires. Prabhupada says in one purport that we should be eager to go back to Godhead. And finish the business in one life. Finish the business. One devotee is asking, what difference does it make whether we go back to God in one life or 10 lives? After all, our seat is reserved. Our spiritual position is fixed. Nobody is going to take our place in the spiritual world. This question was asked by several years back to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Radhanath Maharaj gave a very beautiful answer. That just like if you are suffering from a very painful disease, with appendicitis, sometimes there is kidney disorder, and the patient is screaming in pain. The doctor comes and says, you need an operation, surgical operation. But I'm going out of station for 2 weeks and the same charges will apply, but I will perform the operation after 2 weeks. But the patient, till that time, will have to bear unbearable, very painful situation. So as long as we don't return to the spiritual world, we have to go through this cycle of punarapi jananam. Imagine going back to the mother's womb, being bitten by worms in a very airtight situation. Again, old age, not to speak of death. And the main thing, my concern is, like Prabhupada said, if you don't make it in this life, we may not get the next birth, because Prabhupada says in one place that most of the devotees who don't go back to Godhead, they will go to heavenly planets. So I told this to one devotee and said, very good, we are going in the upward direction. We are not going down. The problem is, if you go to heavenly planet for 100 years of their calculation, that means that amounts to 365 times 100. The scale is like you have, 178 rupees is $1. So same way, one year in heavenly planets is equal to 365 years on earthly planet. So you spend 100 years there, means 36,000 years gone. When you come back to the planet and ask for Chaitanya's movement, ISKCON, said, we heard in history books. Because ISKCON movement is only for another 9,500 years. And if you don't make it during this period, we don't know when next we will get this opportunity. So every moment is very precious. And as soon as time is ticking by, we are coming close to death. But however, if we are engaged in devotional service, hearing and chanting, we are coming closer to eternal life. One devotee should try to increase his chanting in quality and quantity. I have one good friend here in Pune, just like this. Every year he will increase the power one round. By the time you become very old, like 60, 70, or if at all you live that long, then you can come to at least 40, 50 rounds. Prabhupada writes in one place that all devotees should aspire to come to the stage of constant chanting. That is only possible by trying to chant. Like somebody asked Prabhupada how to get taste for chanting. Prabhupada replied, how do you become a drunkard? I'm sure none of you have that experience. But Prabhupada replied, drink, 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 and you become drunkard. And similarly, chant, 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 and you become good chant. And then Prabhupada gave another answer. He said, associate with drunkards, you will become drunkard. So associate with devotees who have taste for the holy name, you get that taste. We have to beg for that taste. It doesn't just come automatically. You have to beg and cry and plead for that mercy. Mercy is available, but one has to learn to become a good beggar. Like Raghunath Das Goswami was so humble. He was begging Lord Nityananda, begging Lord Chaitanya, begging the devotees, please give me mercy. Essence of Cida Dahi festival is not just the Cida Dahi honoring. That is the most one important part. The essence is the mood of Raghunath Das Goswami, mood of humble service, the mood of humility, tolerance, the mood of serving the Vaishnavas, which brings about that mercy. So Lord Nityananda, he predicted, he said, Raghunath, do not worry, because you have served the devotees, very soon Lord Chaitanya will accept you and he will put you under the care of Sarup Damodar Goswami. He will put you under the care of Sarup Damodar Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami left. Just few days later, as he was taking rest in the middle of the night, somebody woke him up. Said, Raghunath, please get up. It's getting time for Mangal Arati. And the Pujari has not yet come. Let us go and wake up the Pujari. Raghunath got up and saw all the guards who were stopping him from going but taking rest, sleeping very soundly. So he told his other devotee, Yadunandan Acharya, I will take care of waking the Pujari. You don't have to wake up. Please take rest. I will do the needful. And as soon as Yadunandan left, Raghunath Palaila, he left home and ran in the direction of Jagannath Puri. Knowing that his father would be chasing him, he took the path of the jungles, not the main street. He walked and walked and walked for almost 12 days. He would take rest in the night in some goshala underneath a tree. And during these 12 days, he took prasad only 3 or 4 times. That means once in 3 days. It's like we also do 3 times in one day. So there's not much difference. 3 times in one day or 1 time once in 3 days. And then he reached Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was so happy to embrace Raghunath. And he told Raghunath, Krishna has taken you out of the place where people pass through. Now you are saved. And Raghunath replied, Ame Krishna nahi jani. I do not know Krishna. Oh my Lord, it is you who have saved. Then I think I'll summarize the rest of the part. After this, Raghunath Das Goswami was handed under the care of Sarup Damodar Goswami. And Raghunath was so humble, so humble. He would not even ask questions to the Lord directly. If he had some question, he would ask Sarup Damodar Goswami. And I would like to discuss a little bit about what are the questions he asked Lord Chaitanya, and how did Lord Chaitanya answer his questions in a very, very systematic way. We are going forward to the verse number 231. The same chapter. प्रभुर आगे स्वरूप निवेदिला आराधने रघुनाथ नैवेद्य प्रभुर चरणे. The next day, Sarup Damodar Goswami submitted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, Raghunath Das has this to say at your lotus feet. What is the question? Let's go to the next verse. Ki mora kartavya mui na jani uddesha apane shri mukhe mora kara upadesha. I do not know my duty or the goal of my life. Therefore, please personally give me instruction from your transcendental power. So, here Raghunath Das is asking Lord Chaitanya, not directly, but through Sarup Damodar. And what was Mahaprabhu's reply? We go to the next verse. हासी महाप्रभु रघुनाथेर कहिला तुम्हारा उपदेश करी सब पेरा दिला. Smiling, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath, I have already appointed Sarup Damodar Goswami as your instructor. In other words, Lord Chaitanya is saying, why are you asking me? Sarup Damodar knows better than me. Let's go to the next verse. Sadhya sadhana tattva shika ihar sthane amitata nahi jane iho yat jane. You may learn from him what your duty is and how to discharge it. I do not know as much as he does. So he's saying that I do not know. Even Sarup Damodar knows better than me. Tathapi amara agya, next verse. Tathapi amara agya shraddha yadi haya amare vakya tate karaha nishchaya. Nonetheless, if you want to take instructions from me with faith and love, you may ascertain your duties in the following ways. We can go back to the screen. Stop the screen. So these are some conversations that are taking place between two great personalities, Lord Chaitanya and Sarup Damodar and Raghunath. These three people are interacting. What it shows is that one should observe the etiquette, the hierarchy. He is not going directly to the Lord, but is asking through his devotee. Now we come to the reply of Lord Chaitanya. It's very good. There's just 4 verses, but very instructive. Let us go to the next one, 2, 3, 6. Gramya katha na shuniba, gramya varta na kahiba, phala na khaiba, ara phala na pariba. Do not talk like people in general, or hear what they say. You should not eat very palatable food, not dress very nicely. You can spotlight on people. Just we can. So there are 4 important parts in this verse. First is Gramya Katha Na Shunipa. Just do not hear worldly talks. And Prabhupada writes in one purport that material talks means like politics, family matters, financial things. So especially for sannyasi or even for grahastha may have to indulge something in family talks, but the focus should be on Krishna Katha, because our conscience is determined by what we hear and what we speak. Hearing is a means to change our heart. If we hear Krishna Katha, we become Krishna Bhakta. If we hear Prajalpa, we lose our Krishna consciousness. The Lord Chaitanya says, Gramya Katha na kahiba na shuniba. Sometimes you may say, Prabhu, I did not speak, but the senior devotee was speaking something, criticizing others, and I had to humbly bow down and listen. No, that is your mistake. Anybody, if he is doing Prajalpa or criticizing Vaishnavas, with folded hands, he should leave that place or not listen. Don't pollute your consciousness. And next line is, Bhala na khaiba. Do not eat very palatable food. Of course, in the beginning, somebody may ask, Prabhupada once told in New York, he thought devotee is eating from outside cake and pastries and something that not offered to Krishna. He said, you can eat prasad, eat as much as you like. And devotees very literally followed Prabhupada in this respect. And then one day Prabhupada says, you should take prasad, but only as much as like, little less than your hunger. Devotees protested, Prabhupada, first you told you can take as much as you like. Why are you? Prabhupada said, you followed my instruction without question first time. Now also you should follow. At that time, you were not in position to receive instructions. So I said, you eat as much. But gradually, devotee should try to control his eating and also not go for tasty food. Of course, once in a week, Sunday feast, there can be some palatable. For newcomers, of course, we have very tasty items. But for those who become fixed in bhakti, the tongue is the way to, if we can control the tongue, we can make spiritual advancement. So, bhala na khaibe and paribos, a very simple clothes like, of course, dhoti, kurta, sari. Of course, in New Zealand, depending on the situation, go to work, you may have to wear different clothes, but at least in society of devotees. Next point, we can spotlight to Amani Manadahaya Krishna Nama Sadalabe Braje Radha Krishna Seva Manasa Koribe. Do not expect honor, but offer all respect to others. Always chant the holy name of Krishna and within your mind render service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So, here also again, same thing is emphasized. Amanina manadena. Sometimes you offer respect to others and we see whether he is respecting or not. If he is not doing, next time I will also not. So we want to give respect, but hoping that at least I'll get 100% back. But the devotee should be eager to offer and not display. It's a very difficult quality. The false ego is the most difficult thing to overcome. It's not so difficult to give up physical sex life, but this subtle sex is false ego, ahankar. The Lord Sankarshan is presiding. How do we give up that? By cultivating feeling of Trinada Pisunj, Gopir Bhakti. In the land of Jagannath Puri, King Pratap Rudra wanted to approach Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya did not want to meet him. He says, for me to meet this king is worse than drinking poison knowingly. I had nothing to do with such a materialistic person. Although Lord Chaitanya knew that king was a devotee, but Lord Chaitanya wanted to set an example. But finally, when Lord Chaitanya saw that the king was eager to do service, I'm sure you all remember what was the first service he did in the Rath Yatra. He took a broom in his hand, he was sweeping the road for Lord Jagannath. And he was not doing because he knew that, I'll be people on YouTube will come and people will think good about me or my Facebook. That time, nothing like that. He did it out of love. Then Lord Chaitanya says, I must give him mercy. Then how did Lord Chaitanya give mercy? At the end of the Rath Yatra, just few minutes, half a kilometer before Rath Yatra, there's a garden called Balagandi. And the Rath stopped there for some time. Offerings were going to Lord Jagannath. And all the devotees took rest under different trees. And Sarva Bhattacharya, the guru of the king, told him, now you go and massage Lord Chaitanya and sing some nice verses from Bhagavatam, from Gopi Geet. So the king went dressed in ordinary garments and he massaged Lord Chaitanya and sang Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Piriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Shri Madatatam Bhuvi Bhuri Dajana. Translation is that, my dear Lord, your katha is mangalam, auspicious. It removes the blazing fire of material existence. It creates auspiciousness. And those who distribute this Krishna Katha to others, they are the most benevolent, most magnanimous workers. And hearing this, Lord Chaitanya became so happy. He got up and embraced Lord King Pratap Rudra. Who are you? Suddenly you have appeared and made me drink the Leela, the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Who are you? Lord Chaitanya knew the king, but he pretended as if he did not know who the king was. What did the king respond? He did not respond. Oh, I am the king. Do you not know? Did you not see the banners? I am the one who sponsored the whole Rath Yatra. What did the king reply? The reply of the king should be embedded in the heart of every aspiring devotee. And the line is, you can mentally repeat after me. Raja kahe ami tomar daser dasa Vrityera Vritya koro eibora asha. The king replied, I am the most obedient servant of your servant. And it's my desire to be the servant of the servant. And in that nice purport, some of you may get time later on because we are running out of time. But when you get time, please read the purport to this verse, the 14th chapter of Madhya Leela, where Lord Chaitanya is so happy. The king is saying, I am the servant of the servant. And Prabhupada gives a half-page purport, saying that the highest ambition for a Vaishnava is to be servant of servant. He gives 3 examples. Prahlad Maharaj, when Lord Nrsimhadev approached him and asked, what do you want? Prahlad Maharaj said, I want to be servant of servant. Second, Dhruva Maharaj, when Lord approached and said, what do you want? I want to be servant of servant. Sridhar Khola Becha was a banana leaf seller. Lord Chaitanya would come and bargain at his shop and he would, whatever price was quoted, Lord Chaitanya said, I will pay half. Sridhar would say, if you don't believe me, you can go to other suppliers. You can check Amazon, Flipkart, whatever, But Lord Chaitanya says, no, I have a good supplier like you. I don't want to go to anybody else. And Lord Chaitanya would sometimes drink the water from his water pot. And Sridhar would say, actually, I am taking very little profit. And half of the profit goes to serving Mother Ganga. Lord Chaitanya says, Ganga, oh Ganga, Ganga is coming from my lotus feet. And the Lord of Ganga and the master of Lord Shiva, Parvati is my maid servant. And Sridhar could not believe. He would close his ears and said, Vishnu, Vishnu, what nonsense is this? But in the Mahaprakash Leela, Sridhar actually saw the Lord. Lord assumed the form of Krishna Balram and asked him, what do you want? He said, I don't want. I'll give you 8 perfections, Siddhi. No, I don't want. I will give you kingdom so that you don't have to open any shop at all. Sridhar said, I want only one thing. That little boy Nimai who would come to my shop, may he come again and again. Lord Chaitanya was so happy. So this is the pinnacle of all spiritual ambitions. To be the servant of the servant of the servant, the Vaishnavas. And in that mood, you constantly chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. We can go to the next verse. Actually, you can skip one verse since time is running out. You can go to 239, the most important of all verses. Trinadapi suni chena, karorapi sahishnuna, amanina manati, kirtanya sada. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than the tree, does not expect personal honor, is always prepared to give respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name. So one who thinks himself, yes, Prabhu, you can spotlight. There are 4 qualities. To think oneself lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, give all respects to others. Raghunath Das Goswami was maintaining himself by begging in front of Lord Jagannath's main entrance. And then suddenly Lord Chaitanya says, I don't see Raghunath there also. Where is Raghunath taking prasad? He says, oh, he is not begging, because in begging, you develop a prostitute mentality. This person is very good. He gave me nice malpua and kheer. The other person is not good. He gave me very dry khichdi. So we start judging people according to what they give us. So stop begging. Very good, very good. Mahaprabhu said, where is he taking prasad? Oh, he's taking prasad at the free booths where free prasad is distributed. Said, very good. This is a sign of a person in the renounced order of life. And finally he came to the level where Raghunath, in Jagannath Puri, there's an area where they sell prasadam. I'm sure most of you have been there. Sridhar Prabhu, what is it called? That area where prasad bechte hain, kya jagah? Anand Bazaar. Sridhar Prabhu is from Jagannath Puri. He's sitting in front of him. His favorite place is Anand Bazaar, not the temple room, but the place where prasadam is sold. So then Anand Bazaar, they sell prasad. And after 1 or 2 days, when the prasad loses the taste, it is given to the cows. And after 1 or 2 days, even the cows cannot take the prasad. That prasad, which the cows reject, that prasad Raghunath would take, wash it with water, put little salt, and eat it with great devotion. And one day Lord Chaitanya came and says, Raghunath, you are taking new prasadam. I am not getting, let me try it out. Snatched it from his hand and ate it. And then second time again is put it. Sarup Damodar said, no, my Lord, this is not for you. Lord Chaitanya said, I have eaten 56 kind of prasad in Puri, but I have never tasted something so delicious. Why? Because Lord Chaitanya was seeing the bhakti, the humility, and the renunciation of it. He was so pleased. Lord Chaitanya had one Govardhan Shila. He would put it around his neck. It was given by a sannyasi. And this Shila was moist with his tears. And this Shila, once Lord Chaitanya put his finger, thumb on his Shila, and the Shila melted. So the Shila still has the marks, the thumb mark of Lord Chaitanya. And this Shila, out of love, we gave to Raghunath Das. This Shila is still there in Vrindavan. Anybody knows which temple it is? Radha Gokulananda temple. You find this Shila. And Lord Chaitanya gave him Gunjamala, garland of conch shells. And Raghunath was thinking, by giving Govardhan, Lord has given me residence at Govardhan. And by giving conch shell, he has given me mercy of Radha. He stayed for 16 years in Puri. And when Lord Chaitanya left Puri, Raghunath could not tolerate. He came back to Vrindavan to commit suicide. But Vaishnava etiquette, you have to take permission even for committing suicide. So he told Rupa and Sanatana, I want to end my life by jumping from Govardhan. Rupa said, what nonsense. You are the only one who has seen the pastime of the Lord. Please narrate to us. You would like to hear the pastimes of Nilachal, Lord Chaitanya and Puri. And Raghunath would speak for 2 to 3 hours every day on the bank of Radhakund. And among the devotees hearing was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote this Chaitanya Charitamrita, from where I am just discussing. So in conclusion, Raghunath Das Goswami's life is an inspiration for all of us. We should aspire, just like Raghunath aspiring to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Physically, we may already taken shelter, we are initiated for many years. But to actually develop this quality of laulyam, that greed, that humility and tolerance which Raghunath Das Goswami had, is the aspiration of all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. In Vrindavan, he would be very austere. He would take buttermilk once in 3 days. So one of the disciples got a big buttermilk cup, like a mega drone or a giga drone, big size. And Raghunath said, "Where did you get this big drone? Which tree has such leaves?" "Oh, there's a village called Sakhistali." "Sakhistali? That belongs to Chandravali, competitor of Radhani." "I don't want." So he threw away that drone. And one day, Raghunath was in meditation. He offered sweet rice to the Lord. He cooked rice and kheer in the mind without any ingredients. Offered it in the mind and ate it in the mind. Next day, he had stomach disorders. The doctor said, "Your Guruji has taken sweet rice." So Raghunath's disciple said, "Baba, our Guruji does not even eat khichdi or rice dal." No, you ask him, They asked, "Guruji, have you taken?" "Yes, I ate in meditation." This is the amount of meditation. One day he was chanting, it was so hot, blazing fire, heat. And Radharani put her sari just to shelter him. And one day he was chanting and 2 tigers came and Krishna took a stick and chased away the tiger. But Sanatan Goswami did not like. He told Raghunath, "What nonsense. Are you serving Krishna or taking service from Krishna? Better you build a small room for yourself." Then he built the ghat of Radha. He did not have money. He was praying to the Lord. And one day a rich man who went to Badrinath to give some donation. He went to Badrinath, Himalaya, and he was going to give donation next day. The Lord says, "Wait a minute." Lord appeared in dream and said, "Give all the money to Raghunath Das." This is how Raghunath Das Goswami had his fundraising programs. These are some of the stories connected with Raghunath Das Goswami. Even then the tree, if you see in Radhakund, there's a tree called the Pandav tree. The 5, when he was building the ghat, he was cutting the trees. But Yudhishthira Maharaj appeared, said, "See, don't cut these 5 trees. These 5 trees are myself, Yudhishthira, Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, Sahadev. We are performing meditation." So we can pray, beg that we can develop a drop of the qualities of Raghunath Das Goswami, that in shelter of the Holy Name. Let us pray with closed eyes for a few seconds and beg the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that we can develop taste for the Lord, become servants. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Cida Dahi festival ki jai.
Praise Krishna and Prabhu ki jai. Prabhu, do you have a few minutes for some questions?
Yes, I'm free for half an hour, but I think other devotees have to check out.
Okay. So maybe we'll just open the floor to some questions or comments. Maybe I can start off, Prabhu. One of the devotees was asking when you were mentioning about laulyam. So we have greed for service, but what if we have greed for a service that another devotee is doing and we are greedy for that same service? And then the other devotee will lose an opportunity.
Actually, I have a little problem with 1 minute. I'll increase the volume. Can you please repeat?
One of the devotees was asking that you were mentioning about laulyam. If we have greed to do one service, but someone else is already doing that service, then what will happen? Because the other devotee will be disappointed.
Ultimate aim is to please Krishna. We just by the desire to serve also, we are pleasing Krishna. In the Bible, there is a saying, "He who simply waits is also serving the Lord." Sometimes, like I am doing Arti, I want to do Arti, but another devotee is doing Arti, and there is only one Arti, per day. and I cannot come second time. So just I am thinking in my mind, this devotee is offering Arti, and mentally I am his servant. I am just assisting him just by standing here and watching him. So the etiquette is the senior person should serve, or even sometimes the senior may let other juniors serve. Like for example, when Shukdev Goswami is speaking Bhagavatam, Narad Muni and Vyasdev, they are also hearing. Vyasdev is his father, and Narad Muni is the guru of his father. But he is not envious. I am here, and this fellow is a new devotee. I taught him how to wear dhotis, and now he's pretend he is speaking in front of me. So there's non-enviousness. In other words, our ultimate objective is to please Krishna. What will please Krishna? Sometimes one may have to raise his voice because just to get some opportunity, but it should be done in a mood of humility. If we have no service at all, we cannot survive. So we have to consult the authorities and say that probably this service I want to do, he is doing. Can I get some other service, or can we have half and half? Depending on there is no one answer to this question. It depends on the time, place, and circumstance. But essential mood should be that servant of servant. Even if physically I'm not serving, like King Pratap Rudra was serving physically, but sometimes like in Arti, everybody doesn't get chance to do offering, but mentally we can all think that I'm offering something to the Lord.
Thank you very much for that. Any other devotees would like to ask some questions? Maybe the devotees are a bit shy.
I think it was quite late also. Now it's around 8 o'clock there in the night.
It's 9:25 now.
Yeah, it's quite late. I think. So can we?
Yes, but we just have one devotee, Her Grace Radha Padma Mataji. She wanted to say a vote of thanks.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji, for beautifully taking us to the Pani Hati festival. We all are dipping into the nectarian pastimes and beautiful messages to read between the lines. So simply you spoke in clarity, and you reiterated how it is impossible for anyone to approach Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and the devotees. How it is so important to imbibe the qualities, Vaishnav qualities, being humble and tolerant, and serve the Vaishnavas and follow etiquettes. So it was so beautiful. And how this mercy is so very crucial for our advancement in combination with Laulyam, you mentioned. So on behalf of ISKCON Auckland Sangha, we would like to thank you, Prabhu, from the core of our hearts. How, again, because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we're getting this opportunity to associate with wonderful devotees like yourself. And please accept our gratitude, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future as well. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you, Kadamka. Please pray for me. Very easy to speak high subject matters, but I need the mercy of devotees like you to practice what Prabhupada says. Panchakalpatarubhas, Upasana. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Auckland, New Zealand, Bhaktavrind ki jai.
His Grace Krishnananda Prabhu ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And I'd like to thank all devotees for joining us this evening. And we wish you a good night, and hope you all dream of Krishna. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. Pranam.